Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be unpacking the Moment Balance 7 litre camera sling. This is one of the bags in Moment's newer fast and light carry line of lightweight but high technical performance carry options. So the main materials that are in use with this bag is a light weave ripstop DWR fabric, and you'll see a lot of these kind of stretchy mesh options here. It's a fairly unstructured bag, going by the lightweight sort of style of option, and it is fairly packable as a result. So let's start off with the strap system, because this is a kind of a big thing with this bag. This bag is mostly designed with a right shoulder wear style. However, you can switch the straps around to wear on a left shoulder, which is the way I prefer to wear bags, over my left shoulder. So you can do that, but you'll see a few little quirks with that, and we'll go through that now. So first of all, you'll see it's sort of an asymmetrical design. So as you can see, on one side we have this padded sort of wing, which we don't see on the other side. And then with that as well, on the back, we can see here, we have mounting options for the strap on this side, and then just a single mounting option here on the wing. So you can flip the strap around to set it up for a left shoulder carry with these different straps. The strap itself is a 2-inch wide padded strap with this nice sort of airy mesh to help keep heat under control. So it's a nice pad. It's a good reasonable pad, and then the rest of the strap is just kind of 1 inch, and we have a nice little Woojin quick release here. Another feature of the strap is this strap pocket. This is a really cool addition. I really like the idea of this strap pocket. I think it's a really cool idea. It's a nice wide strap pocket. Inside here we have a little leash for keys or whatever you want, and we have a couple of little sort of stretchy mesh areas to hold things down, so you could put, like, say, your AirPods or whatever. It's quite wide, so we can fit, for example, this is a case for an iPhone 17 Pro Max. That does fit in, and you can zip it up. So it's an interesting little idea. It makes use of what is otherwise kind of essentially useless space, and in keeping with a fast and light line and sort of technical performance, is quite good. Now, the one thing I want to note about the strap system, a couple of things I want to note about the strap system, to be honest, partially due to the right shoulder bias setup. A few things I noticed with it is, first of all, the strap, or the bag, does come with a stabilizer strap option. However, the stabilizer strap connection points are only on the one side. So once you flip it over to the left shoulder wearing, these are less useful, and it's a bit more difficult to get the shoulder stabilizer strap to actually work well. Doesn't bother me. I don't really use a stabilizer strap that often, but it could be something you might want to keep in mind if you do use a stabilizer strap that often. It would have been nice to see those connection points for the stabilizer strap on both sides of the pad to make that easier. The other thing I note with it is the D-rings connection points. I found when wearing the bag, these would kind of sit perpendicular to the bag and your body, and the actual edge of the D-ring would kind of rub against you. It didn't hurt you or anything like that, but it's just something that I could specifically feel as I was wearing the bag, and it's not something I particularly enjoyed. So what I did do, and if anyone else is using this bag, maybe it'll be useful to them, and maybe it'd be something that the Moment could have a look at going forward potentially. What I found a little workaround that was good is to actually slightly connect the straps a little bit differently. And what I did was, instead of connecting the D-ring directly onto the little strap attachment point, I would feed the D-ring through underneath, pull it up, and then I would feed the strap itself in through the D-ring, close it off, and then what I was left with was a strap that sat much flatter against my back, and so there was no issues then with feeling the D-ring rubbing off your body, and it was much more comfortable that way. So that's just something to keep in mind with the strap system. Coming back to the pocket, from using the pocket, well, I love the idea of the pocket. I think it's a great idea, and I hope they keep that type of innovation going forward. I did find that because the pocket was directly attached to the padding, so this is essentially the padding here, that when you did have items in here, you could feel them through the padding. So depending on what you had in there, sometimes it could feel a little bit less than comfortable, to be honest. I hope that maybe they'll consider an adjustment to that going forward, maybe make that a little bit more rigid, or perhaps separate the pocket from the padding so that you could have maybe a free floating pocket, because I do really like that idea. I don't want to see it go away, but I think that there's definitely some improvements that could be made on that pocket. Okay, looking at the main body of the bag then, while we're at the back, we'll start off here. We have this sort of semi-rigid back panel with a sort of an airy mesh again to allow it to be quite breathable. It gives the bag a little bit of structure. Because it's a lightweight bag, the bag is overall not too structured, but this certainly gives it a little bit more structure, and while at the same time it's nice and breathable. When wearing the bag, that structured back panel is very comfortable, so I didn't have any problems at all with that. I actually probably found it's better having it there than not having it there from using other lightweight bags that didn't have any kind of structure in the back. You know, that back panel is a great idea. It's really good, really useful. We have a secret pocket here for your usual sort of small, slimmer items like your passports and different things like that. It's quite a sort of slim opening. It's not very wide. I would like to maybe see that maybe be adjusted to be a little more wide in the future. Now maybe there's technical reasons why it couldn't be, but that's one thing to consider. So in here I have like a small alpaca admin pouch wallet. From the standpoint of a phone, the iPhone 17 Pro Max, you can see there that won't fit the whole way in, and it's not very wide. Like I said, from an opening standpoint, the width is not very wide, so you know, you could potentially kind of get it in there, but I wouldn't count it, so I wouldn't really be expecting to use it for that whatsoever. On the front, we have this awesome, super stretchy mesh pocket. It's brilliant. I really like it a lot. At the moment, I have a few different bits and bobs, just sort of normal kind of carry items. Like I have, you know, some hand cream. I have a little lip balm. I have a bottle of hand sanitizer, and I have a packet of tissues. But it's a really, really stretchy mesh pocket, like, so you can fit, like, it'll stretch out a fair amount more than you might expect. So you can, you know, it's very useful. It can be very useful for lots of different things, like for dropping lots of different things in there. Protein bars, whatever you want, but it's very stretchy, it's very useful. I really like this idea. It's super light, but obviously be aware that it is see-through, so anything you have in there, you know, it will be seen as you're walking around. So just to keep that in mind when you're putting different bits and bobs there. But great pocket, great idea, really like it a lot. It's an excellent feature. On the bottom then we have some external carry, and I really like the options we have here, okay? So what we have is, keeping in line with this front super stretchy mesh pocket, we have a super stretchy mesh water bottle holder. It's excellent. You can put your water bottle in there, you can put an umbrella in there, you can put whatever you want in there. It's very stretchy, so it stretches out nicely, and when it's not in use, it flattens back down, out of the way. It's great. Really like it, brilliant little feature. And then we also have these two little bungee cords on the sides, which you can use in conjunction with the little cord stops for essentially lashing various different items onto your bag, like tripod, jackets, whatever you want. You know, the options are endless there with something like that. They're nice and simple, but really, really useful. Really like it. It's another really nice little feature of the bag. It also has a dedicated device pocket. At the moment I have an iPad mini, and it will also fit an iPad Pro 11-inch from my own testing. So it's a nice little, reasonably sized little specific dedicated device pocket, and it's got obviously the back padding here, which helps protect your device. The main compartment then is nice, wide opening, and what we have in here is several different areas for storage, okay? So on the front we have two small pockets for different items. These are not stretchy, so just, you know, they're pretty decent size, but they're not a stretchy pocket. So at the moment I have, for example, my AirPods Pro in there. I don't have anything in that side at the moment. And then we have the main area here. It's a traditional sort of camera bag setup where we have sort of hook and loop and a divider. Okay, so at the moment I have it set up in sort of 3 little compartments. I have a little small compartment inside here where I have a small battery bank. And then on the side we also have a little stretchy mesh pocket, so you could use that for a little bit more organization or for little small items as well, maybe an air tag or something like that, whatever you want in there, or tile, whichever tracker of choice you might use. Then I have in here, I have a telephoto lens. And then on this side, I have my Fuji X-T50 with the 16 to 55mm lens. So it's a reasonably sized setup. It's not the biggest camera body, but the lens obviously makes that large. So as you can see, it fits all that. And then on this side, we also have another super stretchy mesh pocket too. The divider then is it's a simple style of divider. It is basically almost like 2 pieces hooked together, and you can use it then to change the shape and size whatever way you want. You can have it set up like a giant O. You can set up just like a single-sided divider, and then with the hook and loop, you can move it around however you see fit to change the shape. And it is hook and loop on both sides, so you can do whatever you want. You can take it out, leave it in. You can move around, do anything you want with that. So you know, the usual camera bag setup there. And then hidden away slightly here, we have another zippered compartment. It is a small little pocket here. We've got a nice little drop area. I just currently have the stabilizer strap. And then we have 3 super stretchy little mesh pockets here, one beside each other. I'm using them just to carry filters and a little microfiber cloth and a little filter adapter, which allows me to use my filters on my 2 different lenses because they're different filter sizes. So that's what we've got there. It's a nice little pocket there. It's got some good little space. And you've got a nice, as I said, I love super stretchy mesh pockets. I think they're a great addition to bags. And that is the main compartment. So, as we can see then with it empty, now I have left obviously the divider in there, but it does compress down to a reasonable sort of slim size. You can really kind of crush it down, so it can really fit, like, you know, into a backpack, or not a backpack, sorry, into your bag or something like that. If you're going away somewhere and you were thrown into your case, it can crush down nice and small and fit nicely into a little case. So it really fits with that sort of lightweight sort of style. Overall, I do think the bag is, it's a nice bag. Really, I love some of the ideas there here. I love the lightweight nature of it. I love these stretchy mesh parts. I think they're great because they're just super useful and super adaptable. And I love the fact it's packable. It's really nice. I recently threw it in a case going somewhere, and it worked great. It was great for that. As I said, my main sort of reservations about it are the right shoulder bias. I would have preferred if it was designed just as most bags are today, just with a ambidextrous design. You know, so you can pick and choose whichever side you want to wear. I don't quite understand why they decided to go specifically with a right shoulder bias, when every other bag is striving to be essentially as adaptable as possible. But, you know, maybe going forward they might change that in a second version, who knows. And I hope they would consider looking at the strap connectors to make them a little bit more comfortable. And then the main thing I noticed with the bag was just, once it's full up with like all of this gear, you know, it does get very bulky, as you saw at the start. So it bulks out quite a lot. Now that's, you know, a good thing because it means it can carry a good bit, but also with that bulk and it being unstructured as it is, except for obviously the structured rear panel, it can feel a bit off balance sometimes depending on how you're carrying things and what way you're carrying things. So you might need to consider how you pack it out so to keep it sort of a bit more balanced for yourself for when you're moving around. But all in all, a pretty decent bag. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you in another one.